interest formula, okay, and what compound interest actually means, as well as what is the difference between compound interest versus simple interest. Okay, we learned that simple interest, okay, depends on the principal that's placed inside the bank or borrowed, okay, right at the start of the year. Okay, then for compound interest, the principal amount actually changes, okay, as per what we have right at the end of the year. Okay, so for example, after 1 year you earn the interest already, okay, then that amount becomes the new principal for the second year. Okay, and because of that, we derive this formula here, for which A refers to the total amount, that in other words is your principal plus the interest amount, P is the principal, which is the initial amount, and R being the interest rate, and N being the number of years, months, or days, depending on the context of the question. I thought that since we learned the formula already, it is good to really understand why did Mr. Tan encourage us to improve by 1% each day. Okay? Because what? Because we were no. Okay, so if you recall, alright, I still remember vividly, okay, that he showed us a graph. Okay, I'm not going to show us any graph because we have not yet arrived at that stage. Okay, but there is value in doing 1% of increase every day, right? Okay, so let's assume, okay, that we start off the year with a principal of being at 100, okay, 100%, right? I'll give it as though it's $100, okay? So the principal amount, if it were to be $100, okay, what is the interest rate that Mr. Tan is referring to in this case?
1%.
Okay, the rate itself, okay, is actually 1% a day. Alright, or actually the R that we will be substituting will just be 1%.
1% a day.
Okay, so the principal is 100, and then your R is 1. Okay, then after that, the N, right, because in this case, to improve by 1% each day, we are actually looking at compounding it per day. Okay, 1% each day is the rate per day. Okay, and for us to improve by 1% each day, it's actually about compounding per day. So the number of days in a year, okay, will actually be 365. Okay, although technically this year we have 366 lah. Okay, because of the leap year. We're just taking it as per normal, 365. Okay, so with these values, if I were to count, what is the total amount? Okay, 100 plus 1 over 1 plus 1 over 100 to the power of 365. Okay, what is the value that we get? Let's do a quick calculation. Key in your calculator, please. What do we get? About $3,717.34, right? Which is a lot, right? Okay, versus the start. Okay, on 1st of January, if you invest in $100 and it's compounded by 1% per day, okay, at the end of the year, you're going to see $3,778.34. So the increment is very significant. Unlike if you were to do simple interest, okay? So if you were to do a simple interest, we recall from yesterday that there was this formula that we learned in set 1. Okay, your principal will be 100, your rate is still 1, your T is 365. Okay, we are looking at the interest of 365. So your total amount at the end of the year will just be 465. Okay, so to join to the context right here, okay, what does simple interest mean according to this context? It is about increasing and improving 1%, okay, from 1st of January. Okay, so 1st of January, what you put in, 1% based on 1st of January, not 1% based on your previous day. Okay, this is 1% based on 1% increment based on your previous day, while this one is based on what you invest in on 1st of January. So there is a difference over here. Okay, that's why we should always be improving based on, okay, what we were from the previous day. Okay, so I hope this helps us understand why Mr. Tan said what he said into the school last year, right? Last year. Okay, not quite because of Shanti Pereira, right? Okay, so that I hope it's a warm up for us in terms of how the formula is being used. Yesterday we looked at practice now 14, question 1 and question 2a. I want us to look at practice now 14, question 2b. So this would be our P. Okay, over 2 years at 2% per annum, okay, but compounded monthly. So the instruction on compounded monthly is to say that we're looking at January, what we put in, okay, then after that based on the interest rate, we adjust accordingly, and then February, okay, the principal actually changes. So in this case, it will be different from how we calculate based on compounding yearly, like what we saw yesterday. Okay? Because it is 2 years here, it tells us that our N, okay, we are looking at compounding monthly, so our number of months is what we're going to be looking at. So 2 years times 12, N will have to be equal to 24. Okay? The rate over here, 2%, is 2% per annum. Okay, so because it is 2% per annum, we need to adjust it for compounding monthly, and therefore we need to take 2 divided by 12. Because per annum refers to 1 year. 1 year has 12 months. So to divide our 2%, okay, by 12 months will help us to get our interest rate. So that will be 1/6. Okay, so now we use the formula. Our total amount would be 1,500, 1 plus 1/6 over 100 to the power of 24. Okay, and that would give us about 1561.164. Okay, so question asks for the interest only. So we need to take 1561.164 minus away 1500. We always give money rounded off to the nearest 1 cent. So that is to decimal place. Okay. Questions? Why need to minus the 1500? That's because question asks for finding the compound interest. Interest is an amount of money. We're just trying to find the interest itself. A refers to the total amount, your principal amount plus the interest. So let's say you put into the bank $1,000, later on you earn $100 from interest. So A will be $1,100. Right? Let's take a look at question 3. in the bank as a fixed deposit for 4 years. Okay. And the bank offers an interest that's compounded yearly. Yeah.
I don't understand why the equation R equals 2 over 12.
Why R equals 2 over 12? Because the question says that the interest rate is 2% per annum. So 1 year 2%. But we're now trying to see compounding monthly. So we need to readjust our interest rate according to the context of compounding monthly. 2% is for 1 entire year. But within a month itself, it cannot remain as 2%. It will be 2% divided by 12. Okay. So, any other questions? Right, we look at question 3. Buddy places $4,000 in the bank as a fixed deposit for 4 years. The bank offers an interest compounded yearly. Okay, at end of 4 years, she receives a total of 4502.04. Okay, the question is asking for interest rate. Okay, so I want us to be very clear over here. Question is asking for a rate, not interest. Okay, interest rate is a percentage, while interest is an amount. Okay, so interest is in dollars. Alright, while interest rate we're looking at the one that is in percent. So essentially what the question wants us to find is our value of R. Okay? Then $4,000 being the amount of money that's placed in fixed deposit, that will actually be our principal amount. Okay, and because the question says that it is compounded yearly, and we have over here 4 years, so we can say that N will actually be equals to 4. Okay, then my question here is, what is 4502.04? What does it represent?
A.
It will represent A. Thank you. Okay, so we make use of the information, place it inside our formula, and we see that we can write 4502.04 equals to the principal times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of 4. Okay. So how can we then find the value of R? Right, so this depends on our algebraic manipulation skills. Okay, we need to first divide 4,000 because the 4,000 is not subjected to the power of 4. We need to be clear about that. Okay, so 4,000 times this entire thing, we divide 4,000 over first. Right? I'm trying to find out what is the value of R, which is not inside the brackets. So I need to so not get rid of the power of 4. So yesterday when we went through our homework question, recall, what is the opposite of your power of 4? The fraction, right? A power of 1/4. Okay, your 4th root essentially. So we will take the 4th root, which is power of 1/4, and then we will get 1 plus R over 100. Okay, so that is how we so-called open up the brackets. Right? Then we want to find the value of R, so next we move the 1 over to the left. Okay, and we get this. Then finally, we multiply by 100 to the entire expression. Okay. You may be wondering, why is it that I kept my values like that? Why didn't I press into the calculator? Okay, what do you think? Why is it that I write it this way instead of pressing into the calculator? It will be more accurate. Okay? Because I wouldn't lose any numbers, any values if I were to do any truncation of 5SF. Okay? Because if you truncate 5SF here and then continue to do so here and here, you do tend to lose a little bit of decimals. Okay? So I find it easier to just keep it in exact, although it might seem like there's a lot to write. Okay? Then after that, you can key this entire expression into your calculator, and you would be able to get about 3.00. Let me just put my calculation. Okay, we find that our R value will be about 3.00002 and so on. I want us to bear in mind that our answer should be left with 3SF because it is not exact. It might be convenient to write 3, but that is not the accurate answer. That's not the correct answer. Okay, so we should write 3.00 due to the need for us to leave it in 3SF since this is not an accurate value. Yeah, because the standard is final answer 3SF. Okay. Question? Okay, if you're good, would I get all of us? Take some time to do exercise 3B, question 20 and question 23. Okay, this is on textbook page 77 and 78. I'll give you 10 minutes to try working on it. I know we are not done, right? But my intention was really to make us struggle a little, okay, to see that we will probably struggle at doing our memorization. Okay? I think most of us are able to start, okay, somewhere. Alright, so let's do this question together, okay? It says compound interest of 4.2% per annum. And then after that it says it is going to be compounded quarterly. I want us to be aware that 1 year has 4 quarters. So in other words, our n is equals to 4. Okay? 1 year has 4 quarters. Okay? Compounded quarterly means that, for example, your 1 year, you have your January all the way to December, right? Okay, that's 12 months. Dividing into quarters will mean that it's January to March. Okay, then after that April to June, July to your September, and then October to December. Okay, so to compound quarterly means that in January you have a certain principal amount placed in. At the end of March, you get a certain interest. Okay, so principal 1 and then interest 1. Okay, then at the April itself, you're starting off with the new principal or principal 1 plus interest 1. Okay, so this is your principal amount for the second quarter. Okay, then at the end of June, you're going to get your interest. Okay, such that your July, you're starting off with new principal again. Okay, that is the meaning of compounding quarterly. So every 3 months later, okay, you earn some interest. So you're earning interest after 3 months, not earning interest after 1 year. You understand? This idea of compounding quarterly. Okay? Sorry? Okay, compounding quarterly means that after 3 months, you will earn some interest already. Okay? Then after, with the interest that you earn, it will change the principal amount for you to start the second quarter. Okay? Then after that, you will earn some interest in the second quarter. Okay? Then with the new interest, it adds on to what you had previously, such that you change the amount of principal you get in the third quarter. Okay? So you're earning in the context of a loan shark. Okay, I'm sure you have watched some movies and dramas. Okay, so your loan shark usually will charge compound interest on a daily manner, right? Okay, that's why they will go and chase after money because, and then your money actually you start off borrowing $1,000, but then the interest rate is actually every day one. Okay, then that's why after just 1 month only you have to owe a lot of money. Okay, so that is for compounding daily lah, right? But now we're just compounding quarterly. Okay, so understand that aspect. Okay, question says the rate is 4.2% per annum. So 4.2% per annum means that 1 whole year, the entire percentage, the entire rate is 4.2%. But since we're compounding quarterly, it means that our rate needs to be adjusted to take 4.2 divided by 4. Okay? Questions? Alright? Then, it says that $96.60 is to be paid in interest payments at the end of first year. So, n is actually equals 4 because we're just looking at first year itself, 1 year only. Okay? So, actually the 4 is due to 1 times 4, 4. Okay? Because we're looking at only 1 year. If they said that it is after 2 years, then it would have been 2 times 4, 8. There will be 8 quarters in total already. Okay? Then, when you erase this, question wants us to find the original sum of money borrowed to the nearest dollar. Okay? So, original sum will refer to the principal amount. So, the question actually wants you to find out what is the principal amount. Okay? Sorry, the I is actually $96. Okay? So, if I were to use my formula that we have here, I will see that my principal amount is unknown. My R will actually be 4.2 over 4, for which you could express it in this manner also. Okay, then after that, N will actually be 4. Okay, the problem here is we do not know what is the A, we also don't know what is the P. So you will probably struggle in terms of the manipulation at this stage. But there's an information that I have not yet used, and that is the interest of $96.60. Okay, and that explains why I define my total amount to be P plus I. So my total amount actually refers to P plus I. In other words, it is P plus $96.60 equals to P times 1 plus 4.2 over 400 to the power of 4. How I got 400 is because of 4 times 100. Okay?
Why the 100 times 4?
Why the what?
100 times 4.
Why the 100 times 4? Because your rate is 4.2 divided by 4. Yeah. So 4.2 over 4 divided by 100 means 4.2 over 4 divided by 100. So divide by 100 means times 1 over 100. That's why I can say 4.2 over 4 times 100. Okay? Alright? Yes.
Why is the I equals to 96?
Otherwise what?
I thought the A is 96.
No, the question says $96.60 is to be paid in interest payments. Okay, so $96.60 is actually the interest that is to be paid. The interest is the extra amount, right? So that's additional one. Okay, so I is actually $96.60, not A. Okay, so if you're able to arrive at this stage, that's great. Okay, but the next question is how then do we find P? Because we find that there is P on both sides here. So it brings us back to what we learned in Sec 2 in terms of changing the subject of a formula. I want to find P. So if I were to place all the things that has P in it over to the left side, okay, and then my $96.60, maybe I'll bring it to the right. So I'll get negative $96.60. Okay, Then what we need to do is to factorize out the P. Okay, I'm going to erase this part. I need to factorize out the P, which is 1 whole, because this is P times 1, minus away 1 plus 4.2 over 400 to the power of 4 equals to negative $96.60. Okay, and hence your P will be negative $96.60 divided by this entire factor over here. Okay, and hence we get about 2264.090. And since the question wants it to be rounded to the nearest dollar, that will be $2,264. Okay, yeah, Jaden. Okay, so how did I do the factorization? I want us to see as P minus P, maybe this whole thing here, I express as X. Okay, how do I factorize out P? Is this not true? This is P times 1, but right? It cannot just be Px, okay? Or P times negative X, right? So your X actually refers to this thing. Okay, that's why we have this. Okay? Okay, you think about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Yep.
That is not what. That is
Okay? Please let me know if you have an alternative way that you are thinking of doing. Okay, so that I can clarify.
That's fair.
Sorry, Vera.
On that step, you just
Is that your fingers not laser pointer? This one.
you just feel the right hand side. You open it up.
Wait, which type are you looking at this one? The one who why, what about it?
Open it up.
Open this bracket up. Actually, there's no need to open it up. You can press calculator for it.
I mean, press calculator.
Yeah, so you can press calculator since this is a value. You can, but you must leave it in truncated 5%.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
After that, that number P, right, is basically P plus 96.6. So you can find out what it is.
Sorry, I didn't catch you. What do you say? Let me get my calculator. I find this value, okay, what's the value? This is about 1.0426.
So 0.426 is equal to 6.
Oh, you bring this P over, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem, yeah. It doesn't matter where you bring the P over, just bring to one side can. Yeah, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, questions? Right, you can definitely lead to truncated 5%, I'm not stopping you. Alright, if you don't want to deal with such expressions, okay, that looks a bit complicated and challenging for you. Right, why I keep it this way so that I maintain a higher level of accuracy. Okay? Right, let's move on and end with question 23. rearrange the question a little bit. It said that Debbie is investing this amount for 4 years. Okay, there are two companies that she could invest with, either A or B. A, the interest rate is given in 4.9% per annum, simple interest. And for B, it is 4.8% per annum, compound interest. Okay, sometimes in real life, you may think that, oh, 4.9% being larger, you should probably invest with it. Okay, so that is some way, some marketing gimmick way that I deceive you lah. But honestly, out there in banks, okay, I don't think there's anybody who will offer you simple interest. Okay, there's no company that offers simple interest out there, right? So usually, realistically, it's always compound interest. Okay, so for B, it is 4.8% per annum, but it's compounded half yearly. Okay, so let's look at it case by case. For case A, company A, because it is simple interest, we use the formula I equals to PRT over 100, whereby the principal is 8,000, rate is 4.9, T will be 4 years. And we would get 1560 in interest. Okay. Then we look at company B. It says 4.8% per annum. That is the rate, but it is compounded half yearly. Okay, so our N is actually equals to, what will N be equals to? 2? It should actually be equals to 4 times 2, 8. Why? Because we are investing for 4 years. 1 year has 2 half years. Okay, so 4 times 2, that will be 8. Nash, could you please wake up? Okay, so 4.8% per annum means 1 whole year, the rate is 4.8%. But because we're compounding half yearly, so your rate itself will have to be 4.8 divided by 2, which is 2.4. Okay, so using our formula to find the total amount, that will be principal $8,000 times 1 plus 2.4 divided by 100 to the power of 8. And that gives us about 9671.406. Okay, so we cannot compare interest with the total amount. You need to make sure that there are same quantities to compare. So go and find out what is the interest if you were to invest in company B. That would be to take the total amount minus away 8,000. Okay, you may round this off to the nearest cent already. Okay. So therefore, looking at the interest amount, our decision should be to invest with company B. Okay. Okay, and the reason is because the interest earned is more. This will be part A. Part B is just finding out the difference. Okay, so that's just taking the difference in the two values. We get about 103.106. change our answer? We will choose A. Okay? So do be very careful about the wording used in the question. Okay, don't always just go for the one that's of the greater amount. Because you're borrowing money, you wouldn't want to pay a higher interest at the end. You will definitely want to pay less interest. Okay? Questions? Okay, if you're good, homework, exercise 3B. Okay, question 12, 18, 19, 21. I like this to be due on Friday, otherwise March holidays already.